Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to show you how I restore small Jeep parts with limited tools, and we're going to use this circuit breaker bracket as the example. Alright then guys, so before we make a start, let's quickly go over the tools that I use. I got myself a Dremel tool. It doesn't have to be a proper Dremel, a cheap knockoff will do fine. I used a cheapy one for years. If you don't have one, you can use just sandpaper instead, but it makes it a lot more difficult. A mask, probably you want something better than this, what I have here. Proper nice fitted mask with the respirators on the side and everything's really ideal for this. But just wear something, because you're going to be digging into old crap paint that's probably lead based. Rust, dust everywhere, you just don't want to be breathing that in, so get yourself a little mask. You want some containers to just put some pieces in and have underneath the bits when you're covering them with brake fluid and stuff like that, just to keep them clean. Not brake fluid, brake cleaner, I'm an idiot. Whatever hardware you need to undo the parts. Some crappy old paintbrushes just to apply some brake cleaner. An old cap or something like this just to put some brake cleaner in. And you want some mucky old rags just to help when you're cleaning the muck and everything off the parts. Some cleaner lint-free cloths. Some sandpaper. And some brake cleaner. Okay guys, so let's make a start on this bracket then. As you can see here, I've already removed the circuit breakers. The old hardware didn't want to come off without a fight, so I had to cut all of that off apart from one. All that matters is that the main bolt here, which attaches this bracket to the Jeep, came off completely intact. This will definitely be reused. And for the sake of argument, here's the older circuit breakers. Anyway, first step with this bracket, get yourself your brake cleaner and your little pot here. Your naff old paintbrush, and you want to just give this a nice slap of brake cleaner. This will just help get some of the gunk off that's still on it. I mean, that won't instantly clog up your sandpaper and your sandpaper bits on your Dremel when you're doing it. It just makes it a little bit easier. Degreases it all a bit. That's just a good idea to do it. It only takes 5 seconds. So that's the first stage done. Stage 2 is pretty simple. Really, all we want to do is be taking this surface paint and rust off this bracket. Now you can do that with just sandpaper. That will take a lot more time and effort. What I like to do is use a Dremel tool with one of these little sanding discs. So I'll just go over how I do that. I have that on a relatively slow speed. And then I just very lightly just go over the bracket like that. And then if I bring it up to the camera, you can see even now, just with a little bit, that's started taking the rust off and that's getting through to the bare metal. So I'm going to go ahead now and do the entire bracket and then show you what it's like afterwards. So here you have one side, and this is basically what I'm going to do to the entire bracket. So you see that's nice and shiny now. Most of the muck and paint is off it, just a little bit of surface rust here where that's pitted in, so that's lower than the rest of the metal. But that is the sort of way we want to get the entire piece to look. And then that will be ready to be cleaned up and reprimed. So let's go ahead and finish this off. So as you can see here guys, that's much cleaner now, but the Dremel can't quite get into the corners. This is a problem that happens sometimes. So I'm just going to hit the sides with a bit of sandpaper just to get that ready to be painted. But apart from that bit, I think we're good to go. So the last thing we're going to do before we get this painted is we're going to whack it with a bit more brake cleaner just to get all of the dust and crap off it that's sitting on it after the sanding. and that should be fairly well degreased and ready for paint then. So remember guys, this isn't meant to be like some fancy factory huge restoration. This is if you've got limited tools, you haven't got a proper workshop, you're just kind of muddling through like I am here with my pieces on my Jeep. This is how you can get pretty decent results without having to spend a fortune on sandblasting or expensive tools, stuff like that. You just need some sandpaper, a Dremel tool, but you can get a cheap Dremel tool, and just a few basic pieces of like some brake cleaner and stuff like that. And you can turn what was a rotten old rusty bracket into basically this, which is by no means perfect, but is absolutely good enough to reuse now. That's nice and smooth. That'll be able to be repainted. At this stage, if you want, you could even hit it with something like Genolite to make the remaining little bit of rust go away completely, but I've found on little pieces like this, that's not really necessary. But it's up to you, that could just be another stage you add to the process. So let's take this outside now and prime it up. Here we are then, one finished circuit breaker bracket. Another piece that was really looked like a bit of junk that's now been refurbished nicely and is ready to be fitted to my Jeep during its rewire. We've got a couple of new circuit breakers fitted to it, the markings on each side, because the circuit breakers look the same but they aren't actually the same internally. So this can now be fitted to my Jeep, and hopefully you guys can see that you can make some nice little restorations on these small parts without having to have tons and tons of pieces of equipment. So hopefully you enjoyed the video, hit the like and subscribe, and I'll see you soon.